knowledge. Give me a beer, fucker.
Bring this something really.
The government's at the top of my shit list.
If I could just bring a perspective into this. Okay, you know where the monetary system was developed and where the numeric system, the Arabic number system that we use now, it was developed in the Mediterranean Sea because that was the first major port of humanity. And that's where it was developed. So this war is a war on the origin of humanity. A war on the origin of everything.
Yeah.
And that's why the symbolic World Trade Centers were destroyed to create the war, because it is the destruction from the bottom.
That's like the pinnacle of the
thousands of years.
Right, and here's the thing.
Thousands
Did
that was
you
like
know?
fucking payback.
All right, here's the thing. All right, now this was this was a thing in motion for a long time. They found records that the World Trade Center has been trying to be blown up for years.
Yeah.
You heard about attacks that did not kill enough people to pass legislation. 37 people were killed.
The bombings.
It just wasn't enough to pass legislation. So what happened? It had to have been this shit. It had to be so nasty. Okay, we already understand that these bomb attacks were failed. They did not kill enough people for legislation. Let's bring the whole fucking tower down. They even have scientists and people, engineers, that tried to understand the working and the mechanics of a building if it were to be hit by a 747 and if the fuel were to really burn. And they said if the plane were to have even exploded and cause so much pressure and the fire were to weaken the floors, you would have expected to see a pancake theory effect, where all the floors came down on each other and came all the way down to the ground zero. Which then, if that theory was true, you would have seen core columns standing all the way into the sky. Because you want to know why those core columns fell? Because they were cut. They were cut, and there was an explosive charge placed
And also,
on those.
you know that those buildings were specifically designed to take a hit. A lot of people
were designed to take multiple, 2 or 3 hits of bigger than a 747.
And also the earthquake.
And still, and so you know what I mean. This shit
before the planes hit, there was an explosion.
Yep, the core columns were blown on the sub-basement level and all the way up. So people heard bomb explosions all the way up.
But it looked like a plane hit it and it fell, but it was actually destroyed before the impact of the plane.
The plane was a decoy.
Yeah.
It was like, okay, this plane hit it, that's what brought the towers down.
Yeah.
But that's not what happened.
Yeah.
Because the bombs actually damage the infrastructure of a building, just like when they blow up a casino, an empty building. The building has a classic crypt. They even showed on building. They even blew up World Trade Center 7, which had a classic crypt. And that's all the core columns are blown out, so the building falls in on itself, not damaging.
Well, that's how they
other buildings.
That's how they
it.
structure it to make
so
it
that
strong.
happened only because every core column was cut, angling, and placed a charge. So the they even have the floors coming down in the world on the video, and windows are blowing out from explosives. They even pointed out in certain pictures. And so it's like, wow, that's crazy.
Dude, and it's crazy to think that it's a war on humanity and the origins of all our money and everything.
Yeah.
And
it's more than that, though. It's so much more.
The phrase "In God We Trust" was placed on the dollar bill? It was the same exact time that the phrase "One Nation Under God" was put into the Pledge of Allegiance, and that was in 1952.
Yeah.
And it was nationalism. It was nationalism fueling a sense of pride. Of, okay, what you just said, all this stuff, what would be the motive of some super powerful people to develop all these technologies, to create all these wars? What would be an end result that would be favorable for them to do these things?
Alright, well, so you gotta look at the outcomes. You gotta look at the profitable. No one does anything that wouldn't profit you. You wouldn't do something crazy at an expenditure. Well, I'm thinking other race. It could be anything, dude. It could be other race. It could be
Have you heard of transhumanism?
Yeah, but
do you know what that is?
No, I mean
that is
I've heard of different.
That's the ability to build technologies to sustain a human life for immortality. It's being able to technologically advance humans to the point where they are immortal.
What?
And basically by taking stem cells, taking programmable cells, taking biology out of the equation, taking death out, and basically, I think if there's any agenda at all, if there's any...
Is it a super race? Is it close to Hitler?
Well, it would be something along the same lines, but immortality is the quest for humanity. Like, the ultimate goal of all human cultures has been
for the
immortality.
Holy Grail for a long time.
Yeah, that's true.
So
Just to live forever.
That's the motivation of humans.
It's probably like vampires.
I mean, Hitler was killing.
He was trying to do
Hitler
it, but
was
he was
even
doing
trying
it
to
in a
find.
primitive
Hitler
way.
even sent like that's what they have like the Indiana Jones movie. It's like what
Ark
was
of the
it?
Covenant.
Yeah, and Hitler was searching for that's
The
why
Ark of the
Nazis.
Covenant.
He was searching for
Yeah.
that, and he even had in his possession. He even found
The Spear of
the
Destiny.
Spear of Destiny,
Yeah.
which was even stuck into Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I know.
And he found other artifacts, and he was
And
said
they
to have
believe-
gone crazy
yeah.
by being around these
Yeah,
things.
the energy and
Just
power
being
of those
around
things.
these
Yeah,
motherfucking
yeah.
things
Yeah.
were have said to
It's like
have
an energy
actually
around.
made him crazy.
Yeah, they would if you surrounded yourself by all of this, like, monumental artifacts, and you would recognize the power in each one as you
Right.
saw them, and you were just locked up in this little bunker surrounded by a ton of guards, and all you had to do was think of the next move. Like, of course, you're strategizing all day, surrounded by artifacts that have immense power over humanity. Of course he's gonna, but he did it in a primitive way. I think that the next wave of this kind of, because it's been happening for as long as humans have been around,
Yeah.
the wars and all this shit. But you know what? The next step, the more sophisticated step, is to do it in a way that actually achieves it in a more comprehensive way.